From Los Angeles, it's the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, God.
And now, here he is, Tom Leykis.
Thank you for tuning into the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No, I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You got to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the program. Here we are together again on the radio. It's you and me. And we appreciate it. I am looking at this website, AskMen.com, which frequently either talks about the exact same topics we talk about, or they have columnists who, without naming us, write the opposite of what we say on the air. Here is an article from AskMen.com. It's called, Do Cheap Men Stand a Chance? By the relationship correspondent, Victoria Holmes. By the way, I don't know who edits this website, but there's always at least one misspelling of a word. Sometimes more. But let me read to you from this. While gold diggers certainly do exist, to the dismay of many wealthy and not-so-wealthy men, even the most unmaterialistic women will admit to not liking cheap men. The reasons why may surprise you, as it has little to do with the money issue itself, and more to do with what it represents. Generous spirit. Oh, please. You see, women view how a man spends or fails to spend his money as a direct reflection of how generous and giving he is as a person. Dear, would it be fair if we judge women that way? Women are the cheapest creatures on earth. Would it be fair to judge women by how much they're willing to spend? I mean on others, not themselves, not on their lotions and potions and foundations and moisturizers and lipsticks and purses and sweaters and belts and jackets and boots. I'm talking about on other people, like the guys they go out with. Would it be fair to judge women that way? Why would men be judged that way? Says here, for example, a man who calculates his every dime and rarely treats his woman, or his friends for that matter, will be seen by women as a tightwad who puts his own bottom line above all else. Well, my friends will be the first to tell you, I'm not cheap with my friends. I take my friends to dinner at nice restaurants. I get my friends tickets to games that I'm attending. I get my friends rides in limousines with me. I share everything I have, everything, with my friends. But a woman you're dating, especially one you've just started dating, is not your friend and will never be your friend. That person is a sperm depository. It is not a friend. I will take my boys out to dinner, you bet. I'll pay. I'll choose a nice wine. They can booze if they prefer. We eat and drink well. My boys know it. But I'm going to spend that on some stranger I just met, whose poon I'm hoping to get a hold of? No. I'm not a cheap person. I just spend money on friends, not strangers. And I don't tend to spend money on acquaintances either. I spend money on friends. You want to call that cheap, you go right ahead. Says here, furthermore, they will assume that this character trait applies to all aspects of the man's character, from how open he is with his feelings to how much love he is able to give. That is not to say that women equate love with money, rather that women will be more drawn to a man who is generous both in spirit and finances. I'm not convinced that a woman is more likely to give sex to a man who is more generous financially. And, in fact, our students have been proving that time and time again in the field. There are all kinds of ways to avoid spending money on a woman without saying, hey, you're not worth spending money on. We've elaborated on these on the air, but to briefly review, we tell women, how about we hook up tonight a little later on, about 9:30, after dinner sometime, I'll have a drink. What she hasn't realized, you've just saved yourself, $125 or more on dinner. Hook up and have a drink. So guys who show up at dinner, you don't say, I'm just going to have the green salad because I don't want to spend any money. You say, I'm going to have the green salad because I'm watching my weight. And that way the woman will order a green salad too, because what woman would eat more than you at dinner? Now, are there exceptions? Of course. But generally speaking, a woman would be mortified if she had to sit there with Chateaubriand for one, while you are eating a green salad and drinking a glass of water, preferably tap. She wouldn't do it. The piece from AskMen.com continues, says here, another reason why women don't like cheap men is, quite simply, that it is much harder to have a good time with a cheap man than it is with one who doesn't mind investing in a good time. So you see what the implication here is, that our personalities are not enough to carry the evening. We have to have things to distract you from our personalities. We have to be lavishing you with money or a good time of other note, concerts, going out and seeing bands, whatever, so that you'll be distracted from the fact that you're bored with us, you're not that attracted to us, or whatever. Ridiculous. Says here, unfortunately, those activities that are the most fun tend to cost a little more. Sex is free. You don't pay a penny for it if you're doing it right. I mean, what's more fun than banging a chick? Nothing. Ladies, believe me, it doesn't matter how much I spend. Porking the crap out of you is the most fun we could have. Why waste money on concert tickets if I can simply pork you? Then trying to talk to men, and again, this goes with that attitude that men are just a bunch of Neanderthals. And this is how she talks to men in this column. She says, consider watching wrestling on pay-per-view for a few bucks versus going to see it live. It just can't compare. Oh, please. So you really believe that the average man who is on this website is into wrestling? Watching wrestling? Is anybody with an IQ above 50 watching wrestling anymore, even for a novelty? It's a dead issue. Dead. Says here, many women are generous by nature. Have you met one of those yet? Yeah. Women are stingy and cheap. And love doing things for their significant others, like making them a nice dinner. It is only natural that such women expect their men to give a little bit as well. Whether it is by taking them out for an all-expenses-paid night of the town. Why do you get to make dinner for $3.95 and I have to take you on an all-expenses-paid night of the town in return? How about I make you dinner? I buy a box of Ronzoni and a $2.99 bottle of Chianti. How about we do that? And then she says, or by taking off work early to surprise them. That's another thing. Women want us to spend money on them, and on top of that, every once in a while, they'd like us to leave work early to surprise them. You know what? I want to surprise the woman of my life right now. So I'm done. I'm going home early. I'll see you later. night. They told me I could not go home and surprise the woman in my life, whoever she may be. They told me I couldn't do it. So I have to stay here and do my show. All right. But see, the women would like you to take off work early. How are you going to make enough money to satisfy their expensive demands for attention if you also are leaving work early to surprise them? Then when you lose your job for leaving work early, they dump you for a guy who makes better money. It's amazing. Now, I could read you the rest of this column, but you can go to AskMen.com and read it for yourself. The bottom line here is that it makes no sense to spend money on women. Spend money on your friends. That doesn't mean you say to a chick, you know what, I'm not wasting any money on you. What it means is you find cheap ways to have fun, or ways to get together later in the evening where going out dancing or going out and eating an expensive meal are kind of out of the question. You find ways to get to a bar and go boozing. You find hip little joints where well drinks are $2.50. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you do. Spending money, lavishing money on women does not work. And this idea of writing columns telling cheap men they don't stand a chance with women, it's outrageous. You never thought of it from this angle. And think of it this way. A man who is cheap makes a very good marriage candidate. Of course, the trick is that once we get your vagina, we kick you out the door like a used tampon. But we don't mind you thinking of us as a marriage candidate before we get what we want. And a cheap man is a good marriage candidate because a cheap man is a responsible man. A cheap man is one who puts money away, invests for the future, saves for a down payment on a house, saves for things like having a baby down the line or educating his kids. A cheap man does not have a lot of debts, does not pay finance charges. A cheap man is somebody who is a reliable man. These are all good qualities. Being a lavish spender may be great for getting women to come out and suck down some free lobster and champagne with you. But you don't come off as someone who is a responsible individual. Because guys like that, and we see them in L.A. all the time, these are the guys you ride in their Mercedes, and you find out later the Mercedes is leased, they don't own it. These are the guys who go to their 4-bedroom houses in the hills, and you find out that they're subleasing them from a friend, they don't actually own them. These are the guys who don't have 50 cents in the bank, they're constantly whipping out their Platinum Visa card to buy things. And every woman they've gone out with, they've lavished money and attention on. You know what? Not worth it. Don't you agree?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom Leykis.
Gentlemen, when you come out of work, make sure you take a nice shower. Put on a little stringy dingy too and dance for your woman.
The Tom Leykis Show.
1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Roberta on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello?
Is that a question or a statement?
Just hello?
Just hello. Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, I'm listen, not very often, but very often. Your program.
Let me understand. You listen not very often, but very often.
Okay, I'm listening. No, because I don't drive in a lot. So when I'm driving, I listen your radio.
Yes.
Most of the time, I agree with you, and that's why I always, when I'm in the car, I listen your program, right?
Good.
So today you're talking about, a generous man, and, and you put an example, right? I'm a businesswoman. I own my company. And I think there's a line in between be generous and be used. I completely agree with you.
How am I proposing using people?
Okay, using people means what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I guess it's my English. What I'm trying to say...
Well, no, I mean, I know what you mean by using people, but tell me specifically.
Hold on one second. I want to be specific. If you go, you man, right?
Mm-hmm.
A guy go at a date means already 1 or 2 nights. The woman shouldn't expect a generous gift or I don't know, a very expensive dinner because you start to date somebody. And I always think the best thing when you start to date a man is always, have a cup of coffee together or something else, something cute. That's when you start a relation, right?
Well, hey, you see, we never recommend that to men, going out for coffee, because going out for coffee means you're not going to have sex, at least at that point.
You see, it's a big difference. So it's not about generous or not generous or being used, you boy.
Yeah, but when you have a cup of coffee with a woman, she's not going to have sex with you.
So what all your statement I heard before doesn't make really no sense.
It makes sense because what I recommend to men is that they have a drink. They have cheap booze.
So it's everything is related about sex. It's not about...
That is the only reason men go out with women. And we say that all the time, and it's true.
Okay, so why are you talking about, a successful marriage? It's when you marry a cheap man.
I wasn't talking about marriage. That's where our language barrier comes in. I was not discussing marriage. I was discussing dating.
Dating. So it's dating just for sex.
Right.
Not to really have a dating life.
Well, women are under the impression that we go out with them simply to get to know them. And sex is something that happens later, when in reality, we don't want to know anything about you, but what we want to know is how easy will it be to get your panties up.
Okay. Are you sure that what do you think? It's really what everybody thinks?
Well, there's no such thing as everybody. There are exceptions to every rule. There are gay men, for example, who if they hang out with you, they just want to hang out and talk with you, I guess. But when a straight man goes out with you, and when he offers to take you out for a drink or even dinner, he's doing it because he wants to see you naked.
Okay, I guess that is where it's our barrier. We don't agree because I don't think that is 100% your statement.
I never said it was 100%, but it's like 98%, 99%. It's the vast majority of men.
For the business I'm doing, I dealing with so many single straight guy or gay guy, and most of the guys
and the gays
complain, and the gays too. Most complain about they never find a nice person to going out.
Well, that's what they say to you because it's a good line to say. But you know what? If we could find a really hot slut who would spread her legs within 15 minutes of meeting her every day of the week, we would never complain about not being able to find a nice girl. That's the oldest line in the book.
Okay, I guess because I'm Italian, I'm too romantic, I guess. That's what...
Maybe so. In this country, what have you done for us lately? That's our attitude.
Okay, I guess it's like...
Put up or shut up. Shut up and do me. That's us.
The Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. Let's say hello here to Becky on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Becky.
I have listened to you for many years. This is my first time calling.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, I came into this conversation kind of short because I drove from work, but I heard that letter you were writing. I don't know if it's a female or male.
It was a column written by a woman named Victoria Holmes with a website called AskMen.com.
Yeah, I think she's completely delusional, and the previous caller, too.
I think it's amazing how many delusional women are out there who believe that we want to take them out on a date to get to know them.
I used to believe that, too. I'm thankful I have a boyfriend now who's pretty, clued in with things, and he's taught me a whole lot. But I think it's very simple. I think it all boils down to biology. I'm a biologist, and I studied birds, and courtship in, let's say, albatrosses is very similar to humans.
Right.
So I think, all the money and stuff that we look for in men is just energy. Bear with me a second here. It takes 2 years for an albatross to find a mate, and she chooses to mate based on the habitat or his little place where he lives, and it's not that much similar or different in people. So I think people, it's just instinct. I think it's based down on that, but you know what? We can raise above that. We don't have to be like that. I mean, it's necessary for animals, but I don't think humans have to be like that. And if people just put little names on it and call it what they want, it's still stupid.
Well, I agree with you on that, no doubt about it, and I think that This idea that men should be generous with their money is insanity. It's total, absolute insanity.
Well, I think if something's true, it should work both ways. I mean, I don't have the most money in my world, and my boyfriend has to pay a lot for me, but, it's not right. And if you expect things like that, it doesn't feel right for the guy to give.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think it's biology. We're all listening to our instincts, so we're not really in tune with ourselves. And a lot of people, call
if all women want is to get to know us, then fine. A couple of drinks, quiet table somewhere should get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a lot of guy friends who took me out a lot, and I used to think they enjoyed my company. Now I almost feel bad, that I didn't get anything for their trouble.
If you look hot enough and you didn't tell us your name or anything else about you, you said, look, let's just go back to my place and you can F me. How many guys would say no?
None.
Right.
I think if you offer them sex with no strings attached, promise them you're not going to be a bunny boiler or anything else, I mean, that's like Kobe Bryant and don't do stupid things like that because, they have the urge. Married or not, dating or not, girlfriend or not, doesn't matter. If you came up to a man and said, let's cut the small talk, let's get down to business. Oh, it's like that woman calling the other day who had her man working for the movie industry, and they were spending I don't know how many months apart.
7 months, as much as 7 months in a year.
Bull. I used to work on a cruise line where they had a movie being made. I'm
right.
sure you know which one. And, all the crew there was slipping around with little stewardesses.
Becky, thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. Cheryl on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm okay, Cheryl.
I just disagree with the percentage of men that all they want is sex. I think that there is a larger percentage out there who are not recognized as much who don't want the first thing to be sex. They do want to get in it.
Well, that's what they tell you, but believe me when I tell you, I'm a man. I know men. I know lots of men. I also talk to the men who listen to this show who come up to me and tell me themselves. That's a great line to tell you. I just don't meet a nice girl anymore. I'd like to meet a nice girl and settle down. That's one of the oldest lines in the book, dear.
Well, I've been in the Navy for 18 years so far, and I've met quite a few men who fall exactly into the category that you're talking about.
Well, they say that, but they want to have sex with you.
No, they fall into the category that you're talking about.
They just want to have sex.
The percentage? Yeah, just want to have sex, men.
What percentage?
But
what percentage?
Well, you said 98%.
What do you say it is?
Less than that. I think it's more around 60 to 65% or so.
Only 60 to 65%.
The first thing that they want to do is have sex.
Well, believe me, you don't give them the chance to do that. You don't know what they would say. Try that on a man sometime. Any man. Pick one at random.
Well, I'm married now, so.
Oh, I know.
I was lucky enough to find.
Well, what I'm telling you is, if you were dating, you could try any man. Pick a man, any man, and say, let's get down to the point here, okay? I just want to have sex, so let's get out of this place and go.
You know what? Believe it or not, I've done that. I was at a bar one time,
right.
And there was a guy that was pretty darn cute, and I said, hey, let's.
You did, and he said, no, I need to get to know you first.
Well, he didn't say it quite like that. He said, well, that's okay.
Oh, was his girlfriend in the bathroom? Was he gay? I mean, were there other possibilities here?
I have no idea.
That's my point, dear. A straight man who doesn't have to worry about his girlfriend coming back from the bathroom, I'm telling you, if a guy goes out on a date with you and sits down at a table and you say, you know what are we doing here? Let's go. 98% of us will go.
I just don't think that the percentage is as high as you think it is.
Well, dear, you have no way of knowing because you haven't tried with all the men you dated to see what would happen if you did that.
Not with all of them. But I think that the ages are changing.
How many men did you do that with who turned you down? I mean men like you were on a date with.
Oh, only one. But, I think the ages are changing. I think more and more people are seeing their friends staying married longer. And they
really? Where is this happening?
Well, there's a lot. It goes.
The statistics don't say that. Maybe your friends are like that, but generally speaking, marriages are lasting less time. People are getting married later. People are getting divorced more.
Well, back in the 50s or so, people were staying married longer. And then the 70s came along, and everybody was getting divorced, and it was free love and, sex everywhere.
It's still free if you do it right.
I think we're reverting back to the 50s type era.
Where do you get this, dear? You're just saying that because you're closing in on 40, and that's how the world looks to you. But believe me, among people who are out there dating and hooking up, let me tell you that people are splitting up at a faster rate. They're getting married later.
Well, my husband.
You're in Seattle, where every other woman has kids by some guy who's not her husband.
My husband has 6 brothers and sisters. And out of the 6 brothers and sisters, all of them who are older are still married to their spouses and have been married for...
They're all coming from the same family. You have to look at a broader cross-section of society than that. People who come from the same family are all the same religion. They have the same parents, the same values. You've got to look around to a broader cross-section of society.
My parents and my grandparents have been married. My grandparents were married for over 50 years.
That proves nothing.
My grandfather died.
That proves nothing. How long have you been married?
I've only been married since June.
Why is that? You're 36 years old. Why have you only been married since June? Because you were married before, right?
No, I've never been married until I just got married in June.
I see. So, well, it's very easy for you to say this, but with you, we don't even know what will happen yet.
You know, we really don't know what's going to happen, but with the history of his family and the history of my family, well, with the exception of my mother's been married 5 times, but with our histories together, I have a feeling that we're going to last. I mean, maybe
everyone does when they first get married.
Maybe that's
everyone.
False hope. But
I felt that way all 4 times I got married.
Well, I feel that I learned quite a bit from my mother, too. The fact that she kept picking the wrong men, basically. She finally picked the right one, and they've been together for 18 years.
18 years. So even now you talk about all these long relationships. It turns out your mother is divorced.
My mother's been divorced 4 times. But she's in a marriage,
there we go.
She's in a marriage now that she's been married 8
But you say based on the history. What does that portend for you? Your mother's been divorced 4 times, and because of that you'll be married forever?
I said with the exception of my mother.
Well, your mother is like a pretty big influence on you, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and I learned quite a bit about how to pick the right man, because she made the wrong choices 4 times and then finally made the right choice and has been married to him for 18 or been with him for 18 years. They haven't been married quite that long, but well, and I learned quite a bit from her. And
well, I hope you're right, but I tend to doubt it.
Long to get married.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter how long you wait. It doesn't mean you're any less likely to get divorced. Believe me.
Well, like I said, maybe it's a false hope, but the marriage is still new, and I can still cling to that hope for now.
All right, you cling to that hope, dear. Thanks for the call. Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Amber on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
All right, Amber.
That's good. First of all, I just have to thank you because girls just don't get it. They really don't. And they're so oblivious to what guys really think. In all honesty, guys only need 3 things. Food, sex, and silence. Feed them, F them, and shut the F up.
You're exactly right.
Chris Rock's at his best. He does it. He says it in his stand-up all the time.
Uh-huh.
And it's, to the woman who you were talking to that said that, if you go up to a guy and approach him and just offer him that, it's true. I tried it. There was a guy that, I heard from so-and-so that he was interested or whatever. So I went up to him one day. He was sitting in his car, gave him a letter, just said, hey, look, I heard that you like me. I don't want a relationship. I just want to blah, 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 blah. And he jumped out of his car and was all about it. Now, you're probably mad at me because nothing ever happened, but it's true. It's completely true.
No, it's 100% true, and that's the best test for anybody who's living in denial.
Right. I mean,
take any man and offer to take your clothes off and spread your legs for him, and see how many say no.
I know, exactly. There was a friend of mine went on a date last weekend, and he came up to me and was talking to me, spent $270 on this girl. It was their second date, and the first date, he got a kiss goodnight, so he was like, okay, I'm going to take her someplace really, really nice, blah, 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 blah. Didn't even get a hug when he took her home.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And that was almost $300 for absolutely nothing. And women shouldn't let guys spend that much money on them if they don't want to do that. They really shouldn't. You know what I mean? They should be like, no, let's not do all that. Let's just go have a drink. Because then you know, then they're just mad. Then they're not going to call you again. So if you have any interest in them at all, you should just put that out there. You know what I mean? And, I don't know, see where it takes you.
I think every woman who believes I'm lying or believes that I'm wrong should try this.
They should.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they have to follow up on it. I mean, if they choose to, so be it. But, you know, if they really think that, you know, you're, you know, such a chauvinist or whatever people call you, they should just try it. And, you know, test their luck on it because it's true.
Well, thank you for that, Amber. Thank you for that endorsement. I appreciate that. That's right. If you have any doubt about what I'm saying, ladies, pick any man. A man you just met, a man who asked you out on a date, whatever. Tell him, let's cut to the chase. Just go to my place and do me. See how many men will say no.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
The paintball is more expensive. You're paying like 35 cents for the first minute, and then
Who the hell are you talking to?
I'm talking to Tom Leykis.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. Let's say Kiki on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hello, Tom.